And our next speaker is Jennifer Barretto, the Undersecretary of CDCR, California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, who will be discussing bringing unprecedented change to a department with unique challenges.
Thank you. Well, good morning, almost afternoon, everyone. And I know it's almost lunchtime, so we will keep this on track to help you get to your next engagement. But what a great conversation we've had so far today. I mean, I've learned a great deal about what's happening with my colleagues and elsewhere in government. In corrections, we are the largest state agency in California. We employ 60,000 employees. We have institutions that span the entire state of California, from Crescent City all the way down to the borders in San Diego. And in that environment that we find ourselves in corrections, we have a great deal of talent that works for us, a great deal of challenge, a great deal of responsibility as public safety servants. When I look at corrections and all that we've done, I've been in the department nearly 30 years now, and I look at all the massive changes that we've made positively. It is incredibly inspiring. I also see many times that we didn't do it very well. So we take those lessons in and we move forward to where we are today. So again, here's the massive footprint of corrections. We have about 91,000 incarcerated, and we also have about 35,000 that are on parole. In our system of 60,000 employees, we represent nearly every discipline you can think of, from officers to doctors, nurses, plant, trades, IT. We do it all. We're many cities. We also do it all with a lot of paper. So here is how we maintain a lot of our data. Truly, this is what we look like. Not everywhere, fortunately. We made some big strides in our system years ago with electronic health records for all the incarcerated, with a strategic offender management system for how we maintain all of the centralized records of the incarcerated, and also an SAP system for all of our business functions. So we don't completely look like this anymore. But boy, there's a whole lot of it that we still do. So you look here at this paper-based system, manual forms everywhere, maintained in boxes. We have this siloed technology of these patchwork legacy systems, all working independently, and we're constantly working on interfaces to get the data that we need. That's not efficient. It also results in a great deal of high risk with all that manual entry and manual work. But we know modernization is possible, and we've done it as a department. We have done recently cell searches. We've done recently restricted housing unit recordings. So if you look here, this paper form that's up here, this is a paper form we have been using for decades. And it requires us, every time there is an incarcerated person that is in restricted housing, think administrative segregation. We have an obligation as officers to record everything that we're doing with that incarcerated individual, from feeding to mail to showers to yard time, etc. And it is closely monitored, and it's also litigated. And the way we've been doing it is with that form. And the way we've been maintaining it is in that box. So imagine how well that goes in litigation. How do we get alerts that things weren't done? How do I know that we didn't go and do a cell search, or we didn't do the showers that day in this format? Well, I find out months later when the reports get up to centralized office in Sacramento, and somebody looks at it and says, 3 months ago, you forgot something here. That is not where we need to be. So we've made that progress, and you're seeing it here with us trying out something new here, being modern and innovative, and moving this into a tablet that the officers are recording, giving us real lifetime data, giving us those alerts, and moving us forward. But we need more help. We really need help. There is so much in our business when I look at what we do. We've got a lot of smart people, but we've got a lot of smart people who only know the way we do things. And in state government, I see that in a lot of areas where we all come up within the same agency or the same titles. Maybe we cross over to another department, but usually we're in the same area. And so we only know what we know, and we don't know what we don't know. And this is where We've been very excited to partner with this Fellows Program and many other initiatives before it. We worked on the Technology Modernization Fund, and we're a recipient of that, which advanced our HR office with some technology improvements we wouldn't have otherwise received. So with the Fellows Program, now we have all of these different entities helping us with what we don't know, with executive leadership, foundational building, focusing on delivery, focusing on not consuming the entire elephant that we know we need to consume, because that's overwhelming, and then we never get it done. But instead looking at where do we want to go, and how do we start that base foundation that we can keep building off of, so that we can see those successes along the way. We also need a system of skill transfer, making sure that all these great staff that are doing these projects with us inherently know what it is we're working on and can pass it on to the next generations. So we had to sit back and really think about what is our vision and our goals in this? What do we want to do in CDCR? Well, we want to become a system where everything is in a digital form and move away from that paper we're all so accustomed to. Now, if I were having this conversation 10 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago, I would have had to recognize that my culture and the department was not ripe for this change. There were many years that we had our staff holding on to that paper. They would have been resistive. They were. We know they were. We've done this when we moved to electronic health records and strategic offender management system, and even our business processes. That we had staff that would insist on printing out everything that was in the computer, right? But now we have this generation shift of staff coming to us saying, you gotta give me like when we do an Amazon order, please. Help me out when I'm doing the mail or property delivery to a cell. I want to be able to take a picture like how Amazon does when they deliver to me. And so that's what's allowing us to start getting into achieving these goals. Data-driven, standardized workflows. We've got to change the way we operate. You can't take the old methods we did and put them into a new state-of-the-art technology system. This is where we've done these things in the past, and we didn't do them well. What we know works is when we do something new with the modern technology that's available to us. And it will help us with our transparency, reduce litigation, and overall improve staff morale. So the fellows are helping us. We've got 2 projects right now. I am proud to be an executive sponsor with this team, 2 teams, incredibly bright people in our government operations, learning a great deal from them. But heat logs. In the prisons, we have to maintain temperature logs of the heat inside the buildings. It's for safety, of course, for the population we serve and the staff. It's also something that's under a class action requirement from the courts. And so what we do now is this paper form, and we have thermometers throughout the buildings where everybody lives, and there's an officer that goes and looks at the thermometer and records it on paper, and it goes in that box I showed you. And it goes to central office, and it's litigated. And there's not an ability for us to see all the things that we should be getting alerts on. It's all required from the staff that are there to do what they need to do, which they do, but then I don't have the proof they did, right? So we need to move this into a digitalized method. This is something we started doing as a department before the fellows were introduced to us. And we have been piloting at one institution having sensors, and it's going to a tablet or a phone device. It's giving us alerts. It's doing the things we want to do. The problem is we need help. It's incredibly expensive. I have prisons up and down the state. I have individual concrete buildings of all different types of design at every one of those prisons. I do not have Wi-Fi everywhere. I don't even have Wi-Fi in all my central offices. Can you imagine, those of you who work in an office? It's not been something we've been able to achieve, mainly because of fiscal constraints. So what we need help on, that the fellows are helping us with, is we need Wi-Fi accessibility. How do we get that? And we need devices in the hands of all the staff instead of needing to share it. So like in this pilot, we might have 4 officers that work in a unit. They're all doing different duties, but it's now my turn to go and do the heat log. I've got to find the person who has the tablet, instead of each one of them having their tablet. Now, if each one of them had their tablet, I could do so many other things. You think about, we have count, we have feeding. There's all kinds of things that we could do if we had the devices. So the fellows are helping us with a pitch deck. And they're learning as they're developing this, and we're learning as they're helping us with how you prepare a proposal beyond what we're used to with budget change proposals and such, to go forward outside, and perhaps there's some philanthropy funds that are available. Maybe it's helping us do better with getting grants. So this is something we're really excited about to see what we can do next. The next one is digital grievances. Our incarcerated do a number of grievances. They can grieve on anything that is something that is not working for them. It can be from feeding has been delayed, my classification score where I'm housed is incorrect, my release date is wrong, and it can also be serious allegations of staff misconduct. We get 20,000 of these on paper every month. An incarcerated person can do more than one grievance in a month. So what happens is we have all types of redundancy in our grievances. We have staff at every institution entering these into a system. They also come to our central office. Then they're assigned out. If it's a staff complaint, it gets assigned out to the internal affairs section. If it's a routine grievance, it's attached to whoever at the institution is best to respond. If it's dealing with feeding, for example, it's going to go to the food administrator, right? So what we lack in this is timely response. We have a required timeliness of responding that is monitored, but we could do it much faster if everything was electronic. We could also find root causes of, wow, this entire block or unit is having an issue with feeding or mail or property. We've got a root cause issue we need to address, or a policy we need to change. More importantly, if we have staff misconduct, we need to be able to be prompt in resolving that and correcting that. So what we're looking to do is a few approaches. One of them is the incarcerated population now has their own tablet that they use to communicate with their family. It's through a vendor. We're in the process of transitioning vendors. We're looking at perhaps this could be automated on that tablet. But not every incarcerated person will want to do it on their tablet. And there's high risk of the volume just increasing. Because I think about what perhaps we're similar, but late at night before bed, you're getting caught up on all your things on your devices, right? Maybe you're checking email or text messaging or social media or emailing the doctor about that thing. Well, now, if I have the incarcerated on their bunks and in their beds doing the same thing on grievances, they might have only done one that week, and now it's going to be 15 overnight because they're thinking about all these things they weren't happy with that day. Which is why I'm going to need data analytics to help me with taking all that information in. It might be developing an application in-house. It might be contracting out. It might be taking a model and scaling it up, which is probably what it'll look like. This is where the fellows are helping us. They're helping us with everything we're seeing here. They went out to some institutions, they talked to the staff doing the work, they looked at the processes, and they're now helping us with, well, what's the most valuable product for the solution? And again, if we try to consume this entire elephant, it'll never get off the ground. But if we just simply digitized it, and we need a method for those that still want to do a paper form, and those that will do it electronic, and maybe that's scanning it in the system and it's read for us. Those are the two projects, and we've got a list of them. I'm sure the list that was mentioned earlier, we've got a number of them for corrections. We are so on board with this. Every director, we've got wardens, we've got custody staff, we've got healthcare staff. Everybody is eager to partner on this because they're all seeing the potential of this is where we could actually get what we need. People are hearing us, and they have ideas we can't even imagine. So looking at this innovation plan and what we're doing with the fellows, what we see here in corrections is it's our subject matter experts, it's the fellows, it's IT staff, it's other leaders, it's other agencies, and all the great things they're doing. And it's also our vendor community who are sharing with us information we otherwise would not know. Addressing all of these barriers, we're looking at funding, connectivity, and support, as I mentioned earlier. But maybe more importantly with this is we know with the talent that we're bringing in to state government, employees coming to us, when they come to corrections and they see things like those paper forms and they're saying to us, I don't want to work in this environment. Why aren't we doing things that are more modern? Why aren't you using this? Why aren't we using that? We know that if we continue to do this modernization and innovation, it's going to only attract and retain that great talent that's out there. We also know we need to be listening to them. They often bring us the best ideas. And we need to be open to what those ideas are and encouraging them. And with our fellows, we're also able to use this pool of really smart people to help build up the next generation with succession management, upward mobility, and create all that cross-pollination that's inherent in us progressing forward positively. So when you look at corrections, we're committed to leading this transformation. And we will partner with anybody in doing this because the benefit is great. And for us, we are evolving the way it's always been done through technology, data, and efficiency. This is our new path forward. So thank you. Appreciate it.